The sky was dark and heavy with smoke. The old city lay broken, filled with metal junk and forgotten machines. This place was called the scrap dump, where no one lived, only trash, rust, and silence. But tonight, something strange was hiding. Under the broken steel, John was a tall man with rough hands and tired eyes. He wore an old brown jacket and carried a flashlight. Every night, he searched the scrap for parts to sell. He didn't have much, just a small workshop on the edge of town. But he survived. As he walked through the dump, he heard a sound. It was soft at first, like a whimper. He stopped. Again, the sound came, a small cry. Not human. But not a machine either. John raised his flashlight and pointed it toward a large pile of crushed metal. The sound was coming from under it. He moved closer, heart beating fast. Carefully, he pushed the broken metal aside. It was heavy, sharp, and dangerous. But the sound grew louder. Then he saw her, a girl, no older than 16. Her skin was pale with a light shimmer, like moonlight. Her hair was silver and tangled. Her clothes were torn. Wires and strange metal pieces were attached to her arms. She was shaking, her eyes open, bright violet, glowing slightly in the dark. John stepped back, shocked. This was no normal girl. "Hey." "It's okay," he said, raising his hand slowly. "I won't hurt you." She blinked, trying to speak. Her lips moved, but no words came. John looked around. Drones sometimes scanned the dump. If they saw her, they'd take her. Maybe kill her. He didn't know what she was, but she was hurt. And scared. He took off his jacket and gently wrapped it around her. She flinched but didn't fight. "Can you walk?" he asked. She looked confused but nodded weakly. John lifted her into his arms. She was cold. Too cold. Back at his workshop, John placed her on a soft mat near the heater. He gave her water. She drank slowly, hands shaking. "What's your name?" he asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed to herself and said one word, broken and soft. "Nara." "Nara," John repeated. "Okay, Nara." He smiled gently. "I'm John." She looked around the small workshop. Old machines, wires, tools, and engine parts were everywhere. She seemed curious, but also afraid. John gave her some soup. She sniffed it first, then tasted it. She ate fast, like she hadn't eaten in days. After a while, her body stopped shaking. She sat up straighter. "You're not from here, are you?" John asked. Nara looked at him. Her eyes were sad. She said quietly, "No." "Bad place. I run." John leaned forward. "Someone hurt you?" She nodded slowly. "Were they human?" She looked down. "Not all." John didn't understand, but he didn't press her. She needed rest. He gave her a blanket and let her sleep, but he didn't sleep. He sat near the door, holding a small old gun. Something about this girl was different, special, maybe dangerous, but he couldn't leave her out there. The next morning, Nara was awake, staring at a bird on the window. She tilted her head, copying the bird's whistle. Almost perfect. John watched her. "You're a fast learner." She turned to him, smiled a little, then pointed at the broken radio on the table. "You know that?" he asked. She walked over, touched it gently. Sparks danced between her fingers. The radio turned on. John stood up, shocked. "How did you?" She stepped back, nervous. "It's okay," he said. "I'm not mad, just surprised." Nara looked scared. "They want me for this." John understood. She had powers. Maybe tech inside her. She wasn't just an alien, she was something built or changed. He sat down slowly. "Listen, Nara. If someone's after you, they'll come here. We need to stay quiet. No one can know you're here." She nodded. "I trust you," John smiled. "Then we'll figure this out, together." But just as he said that, the light on his old wall scanner blinked red. Something or someone was moving outside. John grabbed his gun and walked to the door. He looked through the small window. Nothing. But the scanner never lied. He turned back. To Nara, she was standing now, eyes glowing softly. "They found me," she whispered. John's heart dropped. "Who?" he asked. She stared at the door. And said only one word. "Hunters." Asterisk. The girl stood in front of the mirror, staring at herself. Her fingers touched her face slowly, her cheek, her jaw, her lips. She pressed them together and tried to smile like she had seen in the old photos on John's wall. It looked strange. Not quite human. Not quite alien either. Behind her, the small radio she had fixed played soft music. The sound made her feel warm inside. A strange feeling, new, but good. Nara didn't know what she was becoming. But it wasn't what she used to be. John entered the workshop with 2 cups of hot tea. "You're awake early," he said, handing her one. She took the cup carefully, both hands holding it like a fragile thing. "Smells nice," she said. Slowly. "You're talking better," John noticed. Nara nodded. "I listen to you." She pointed to the bird on the window. "That one sings," John laughed. "Yeah, a morning singer." "It's called a finch." She repeated the word finch. The moment was quiet and simple. But not for long. Outside in the silent sky, a dark drone hovered for just a second before flying off. Hidden, watching. John spent the day teaching Nara how to hold tools, name objects, and fix simple things. She watched closely, copied his hands, and always remembered she was fast. Too fast. By evening, she had fixed a broken fan, repaired a cracked screen, and even upgraded one of John's old scanners without him asking. "You're not normal," John said, half-joking. Nara tilted her head. "Is that bad?" John shook his head. "No, but someone built you smart, maybe smarter than us." Nara looked down at her hands. "I was made to fight, but I don't want to fight." Her voice trembled. John sat beside her. "Then you don't have to. You're free here." Later that night, while John slept on the chair, Nara sat awake near the window, staring at the stars. One of them blinked and moved. It wasn't a star. It was a signal. Far away. Inside a metal chamber on a spaceship, a voice spoke. "We have located the energy signature. She is active. Begin retrieval." The next day, John took Nara to a nearby junk tower to scavenge. As they climbed over scrap metal, Nara asked, "Why do you help me?" John paused, thinking, "Because I know what it feels like to be alone." Nara was silent for a while. Then she said, "I had a family, I think, but I can't remember." Suddenly, her foot slipped. She fell, landing hard. John rushed down. "Are you hurt?" But Nara stood up slowly. Her knee was cut, wires sparking under the skin. John saw it metal, not bone. But she looked away, ashamed. He didn't say anything. Just pulled out a cloth and wrapped her leg. "You're still you," he said softly. That night, back at the workshop, something happened. Nara touched a broken drone part. Her eyes glowed, and suddenly, the part came alive. It floated, buzzing, lights blinking. Then it dropped. John stared. "You didn't just fix it. You woke it up." Nara's breathing became fast. "I didn't mean to. It happens when I feel too much." John nodded slowly. "Emotion triggers it?" She nodded. "Fear, anger, sadness. Then it bursts." John knew now. She wasn't just hiding from enemies. She was hiding from herself. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Then darkness. John grabbed his flashlight. Nara stood still, glowing slightly in the dark. Something's near. Outside, the scanner blinked red again, like the night before. John walked to the window. This time, he saw it, a drone, watching. Then, flying away. "They found you again," he whispered. Nara clenched her fists. "They won't stop, not until they take me back." John looked at her, this strange, brilliant, scared girl. No, he said. They'll have to go through me. First, the night was silent. Too silent. No wind. No sound. No birds. Then a deep hum rolled across the sky, soft but heavy, like something big was moving just above the clouds. John opened his eyes in bed. He didn't know why he woke up. Then the tools on the workbench began to shake. And outside, a beam of red light swept slowly across the junkyard. Something had come. Far above Earth, just outside the atmosphere, a sleek black ship floated like a ghost. No windows, no lights. It didn't need them. Inside, machines ran everything. Inside the ship, one drone came to life. Its eyes glowed red. Symbols lit up on its chest. It received one command. Target, Nara, status, recover alive. Eliminate all others. John grabbed his old rifle from under the bed and looked at Nara. She was already standing, eyes glowing faint blue, looking out the window. They're here, she whispered. John looked out. In the distance, something was landing behind the far scrap hills. It made no sound, but the air shimmered. You sure? He asked. Nara nodded. I feel them. John checked the scanner. Multiple red dots appeared, and they were moving toward the workshop. Fast. They ran. John grabbed a bag of tools, food, and his backup scanner. Nara followed without question. She held her hand out once. Static buzzed, and the lights in the workshop blinked off, hiding their escape. Outside, under the cover of night, they moved fast through the junkyard maze. Metal groaned under their feet. Behind them, shadows landed from above. Silent, walking on clawed metal legs, the hunters had arrived. Tall, black, insect-like machines. No voices, no faces. Just cold red eyes scanning the ground. John and Nara reached an old storm pipe and slid inside. Inside the pipe, Nara pressed her hands to the walls. Her fingers sparked softly. I can block their signal. For now, she said. John looked at her. What are they? Nara's voice shook. They're not soldiers. They're collectors, built to bring back escaped experiments. John's stomach turned. You were one of them? Nara nodded. I wasn't born. I was made half human. Half them I was supposed to obey. But I didn't. Outside, the ground shook. One of the hunters walked right over the pipe. Nara froze. So did John. The hunter paused. It tilted its head, listening. Then moved on. After a few minutes, John and Nara crawled out the far end of the pipe, but the sky was no longer empty. A black ship hovered low over the junkyard, silent as death. One hunter raised its arm and fired. Boom! The explosion hit the pipe behind them, sending dust and fire into the air. John pulled Nara behind a pile of engine blocks. We can't outrun them. Nara's eyes blazed. I can stop them, she said. But you won't like it. What do you mean? John asked. She stepped forward, hands glowing. They built me with control over machines. I can talk to them. You can control them? Nara shook her head. Sometimes, not always. But if I push too hard, I burn inside. John grabbed her arm. Then don't. You don't have to prove anything. She looked at him. I'm tired of running. Nara stood tall, eyes glowing brighter now. She faced the nearest hunter. She reached out her hand. Electricity shot from her palm. A web of blue light hitting the hunter's core. It froze mid-step, twitched. Then it dropped to the ground, lifeless. John stared. How did you? Nara fell to her knees, coughing. Her nose bled. Her hands shook. I told you, she whispered. It hurts. But now the other hunters were closing in fast. Too many. John grabbed her and helped her up. We can't fight them all. We need to disappear. Just before the next hunter reached them, John threw a metal EMP grenade into the air. It exploded. BZZZT, sending out a wave that killed all power in a 100-foot circle. Every hunter stopped. Motionless. Dead for now. John pulled Nara into the shadows. We have one chance. We go into the wastelands. No one follows out there. Nara nodded weakly. They ran. Behind them, the hunters began to twitch again. REBOOTING. And above, the black ship watched. Waiting. The desert didn't forgive. The sun was brutal, the sky wide and empty. Wind carried dust like knives, cutting across the endless land of bones, rust, and silence. No one lived here. No one survived here for long, but John's truck did. Not stop. Not for heat, not for fear. Not even when smoke poured from the engine. Inside the truck, Nara sat in the back seat, shaking. Her skin was pale, her eyes half closed. Her hands still burned from using too much energy the night before. John drove fast, gripping the wheel with white knuckles. Behind them, invisible, high in the sky, a black hunter drone followed silently, like a hawk waiting for its prey to fall. Suddenly, the truck made a loud bang. Then smoke. Then silence. The engine died. John slammed the wheel. No, not now. Nara opened her eyes. What happened? Overheated. We're stuck, he said, jumping out. Can you move? Nara nodded weakly. They grabbed what they could: water, tools, a broken scanner, and started walking across the scorched wasteland. Above them, the drone finally stopped hiding. It began to descend. After an hour, the heat became worse. Nara stumbled, her vision blurred. John caught her. We need shelter, now. He looked around and spotted something in the distance, half buried, metal, old. A bunker, he said. They rushed to it. The door was sealed with dust and sand. John kicked it open, and they slipped inside just as the drone screamed overhead. Bunker was dark. Old lights flickered weakly. John laid Nara down on a cot and checked her pulse. Stay with me, Nara. Breathe. She whispered, I can fix the power. No, John said. You rest. But she touched the wall anyway. Blue light shot through the wires. The lights flickered, then stayed on. The room lit up, revealing old posters, rusted lockers, and a dusty human flag from Earth's last war. This place hadn't been touched in decades, but now it was alive again. John explored while Nara slept. He found a working console. Inside its files were names, reports, and strange video logs. One file was titled Project Unity, Phase 4, Human Hybrid Integration. He clicked it. A woman appeared on screen. John froze. It was his wife. Today we completed the DNA merge, the woman said. The subject shows rapid learning, emotional growth, and potential machine-linked abilities. She may be the future. Or our greatest mistake. John couldn't breathe. The date on the video was 17 years ago. He walked back to Nara, who was now awake and sitting up. You knew my wife? He asked. Nara looked at him, confused. I saw her, in dreams, in pain. John showed her the screen. She helped create you, he said softly. Nara's hands trembled. Why? Why make someone like me? John knelt beside her. Maybe they wanted peace. Maybe they wanted control. But you broke free. That means you choose who you are. Before Nara could answer, the walls shook. A red alarm blinked on the control panel. The hunter drone had found them. The sky outside turned red as the drone fired its plasma cannon at the ground. Boom, boom, dust flew. Rocks cracked. The bunker would not last. John grabbed an old energy rifle from the wall. We hold them here. We fight. Nara stood, her legs still weak, but her eyes strong again. No, I fight, she said. You gave me a choice. Now I make one. She walked to the door, energy forming around her hands like lightning. John followed. Don't go alone. She looked back at him and smiled, small but real. You're my family now. I won't let them take that. Outside, the hunter landed hard. Tall, armored, cold. It raised its arm. A cannon formed. Nara raised hers. Sparks danced. John fired the rifle. The blast hit the drone but barely slowed it. Then Nara stepped forward. She screamed, not in fear, but power. Her light exploded, white, blue, electric. The drone froze, jerked, shook. Then collapsed. Dead. Nara fell to her knees. John caught her. "You did it," he said. But before he could say more, his scanner beeped. Multiple signals. More hunters. Bigger. And something else. Something worse. A command ship. Asterisk. The door opened with a long hiss. Dust rose into the air. Cold lights flickered on one by one, revealing a hallway buried under years of silence. Nara stepped inside first. John followed, his hand near his weapon. "How did you open it?" he asked. She looked back, eyes glowing faint blue. It knew. Me. They had found the old Unity base, hidden deep beneath the desert rock. No one had entered it in decades. Until now. Inside the base, the air was dry and heavy. The walls were covered in old Earth symbols mixed with alien letters. Strange machines lined the halls, some sleeping, some watching. As they moved deeper, the lights behind them shut off one by one, almost like the base was alive again. Nara stopped in front of a wide circular door. She placed her hand on the panel. Click. The door slid open with a slow rumble. Inside was a lab. But not like any John had seen before. It wasn't full of tools or test tubes. It was full of memories. Screens on the walls lit up. Videos began to play. People in white suits working with alien tech. Notes about DNA, machine links, emotional data. One screen caught John's attention. A file named Nara_01. He clicked it. A video played. A baby. Silver hair. Glowing eyes. John's heart stopped. Another face appeared on the screen. His wife. She was younger. Tired but smiling. "She's more than we expected," the recording said. "Nara is stable. She learns fast. She responds to music. To kindness. She's almost human." John stepped back, eyes wide. "You were born here," he whispered. Nara said nothing. Her face was still, but her eyes shimmered. In the corner of the lab, a strange glass pod stood tall. Nara walked toward it. The lights around it turned on. Inside was a second pod. Empty, but marked with her DNA code. Nara placed her hand on the glass. "I remember this. I was in here, sleeping. Then everything burned. I ran." John walked beside her. "They made you to be a bridge, a piece between two worlds." She turned to him. "But they used me." He nodded. "But you escaped. That means you can choose who you are now." Suddenly, the base lights turned red. Warning, perimeter breach. Multiple signals detected. The map screen lit up. 600 units closing in. Nara stared at the map. "They tracked my power again." John grabbed a rifle from the wall. "Then we make our stand here." But Nara was still staring at the pod. "There's more," she said. "I feel it." She walked to another terminal and placed her hand on it. More files opened. Hidden files, one video loaded. John's wife again, this time, older, serious. "We made a mistake," she said. "The others don't want peace. They want control. If you're seeing this, Nara survived. Protect her. She's not just a child. She's a weapon we couldn't control." Boom. The ground shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. "They're here," John said. Nara stepped away from the screen. Her face had changed, no longer confused, no longer scared. She finally understood what she was, what they had turned her into, and what she refused to be. The two of them moved fast. They locked the lab, turned off every signal, and powered up the old defense system. Giant energy cannons rose from the ground above. Outside, the hunters moved closer, silent, deadly. Inside, Nara touched the base's power core. Electric light flowed through her arms, into the machines. The base came alive. "Are you sure?" John asked. You don't have to do this alone. Nara looked at him, her voice calm and clear. I'm not alone anymore. The first hunter broke through the door. John fired. Nara raised her hand, and the lights turned blue. Everything changed. Asterisk. Storm was coming, not wind. Not rain, a storm of steel. The sky above the old Unity base was dark with hunter ships. Their engines glowed red. Their weapons charged with silent power. Inside the base, John stood at a long control table, watching them on the screen. His hands were dirty. His face was tired. He knew this was it. The end was coming. Nara stood behind him. She looked calm, but inside, her heart raced like a drum. The base's lights followed her now. The machines listened when she walked by. She had become more than what they built. She had become herself. The speakers buzzed. A voice cold, synthetic, cruel spoke from the largest ship. Subject NARIO-1, you belong to us. Surrender peacefully, or this base will be turned to ash. John looked at Nara. She didn't flinch. She stepped forward and pressed the mic button. No, she said. I belong to no one. And then she shut off the comms. John turned to her. They won't stop, not until they take you. I know, Nara said. That's why we stopped them here. He gave her a long look, then nodded. They got to work. Old defense guns powered up across the base. Steel doors locked. Shields formed. Drones from the base, small but fast, took flight like birds from a nest. Nara moved through the halls like she had always lived there. She touched the walls. Machines lit up. The base trusted her. And so did John. But time was short. John found the old failsafe system, something his wife helped build long ago. An EMP pulse, strong enough to fry every machine within 10 miles, including the hunters. But it had a cost. It has to be triggered manually, John said, reading the faded screen. Nara looked at him. That means someone has to stay, John nodded. It should be me. She shook her head, eyes hard. No, I'll do it. No, John said. I've lived my life. You're just starting yours. Nara's hands curled into fists. You're the only family I've ever known. And that's why I'm doing this, he said gently. Because family protects each other. Outside, the hunters landed. The first wave came fast. 3 broke through the outer gate. Nara raised her hand and the base responded. Lasers shot from the walls. Metal arms slammed down. Drones swarmed like angry bees. John fired from the tower, steady and sharp. The sky burned red with fire. The base shook. They were holding. But not for long. A large shadow fell over the base. The command ship had landed. From its center, a tall, humanoid figure stepped out. Covered in armor, its face hidden by a silver mask. This was no drone. This was the handler, the one who created Nara. His voice echoed through the base as he walked forward. Come home, daughter. You were not made to love. You were made to win. Nara stepped onto the surface facing him. I was made by you. But I was raised by him. The handler raised a weapon. So did Nara. The two forces clashed, lightning against fire, machine against machine. Nara screamed, and every wire in the base lit up like stars. She was no longer hiding, no longer running. She was fighting. John, still inside, made it to the failsafe chamber. He inserted the key. A countdown began, 60 seconds. John looked at the screen showing the battle above. Nara was still standing, but barely. She looked at the camera. Somehow she knew. She shook her head, her lips forming a single word. Don't. But John smiled. It's okay, kid. He placed his hand on the final switch and whispered, You're free now. Asterisk. The world was quiet. Ash drifted down from the sky like soft snow. The desert was still. No wind, no sound. Only smoke rising from the broken earth where the old base once stood. Where there had been fire, now there was only silence. And from the silence came movement. Nara crawled from the wreckage. Her body was burned, clothes torn, and sparks danced across her skin. The emp had hit everything the hunters, the machines. The energy inside her had gone wild. She had nearly died, but one thought had kept her alive. John. She ran across the cracked ground, ignoring the pain. She passed shattered hunter drones and melted steel. Her eyes searched the ruins desperately, and then she saw him, half buried under broken stone. Too still. John! She screamed, dropping beside him. She pulled away the rubble, shaking hands covered in blood and dust. His face was pale. His chest barely moved. He was alive, but only just. Nara placed her hand over his heart. She closed her eyes and gave him everything she had left. A soft hum began to rise. Faint blue light traveled from her hand into his chest. His body jerked once, then again. He coughed. Nara opened her eyes, and tears fell like rain. "Hey, kid," John whispered weakly. "You're still here." She smiled through tears. "I told you I'm not leaving." They stayed in the ruins for hours, quiet, just breathing. No more hunters. No more chasing. Just peace. But peace never lasted long. The next morning, while John rested in the shade of a half-melted wall, Nara heard something. A sound in the wind. Message. Not from Earth. Not from the hunters. But from space. From others. She touched the broken base's radio, and it sparked alive for one last time. A voice crackled through. "Survivor NARAO1. This is Ark Vessel Helios. We received your signal. We need your help. A new war has begun. You are the last link to unity." John heard it too. He sat up looking at her. "They want you." Nara stared at the sky. Her voice was quiet. "I don't want to fight anymore." John smiled. "Then don't. You get to choose now." But her heart was torn. She had power. She had knowledge. And somewhere out there, people were still being used like she had been. She stood in silence for a long time. Then turned to John. "I will only go," she said, "if you come with me." John looked at the desert, his home for so long, then at her. At the girl who had once fallen from the stars and crashed into his life like lightning. Now she stood before him, not a weapon, not an alien, but family. He smiled. "Then let's see." The stars together. Above them, a shadow crossed the sky. A sleek silver ship, nothing like the hunter drones, descended gently. Like a falling feather, its door opened with a hiss. Nara looked at John. He gave her a nod. Together, they stepped inside. As the ship rose, the earth below faded into clouds. Nara stood at the window, her eyes still glowing, but not with power. With hope.